Aloha everybody and welcome to the final part of Mighty Number 9. We are going to the final stage and we're taking on the final boss. And the final boss can be pretty tricky, mainly because you only have one Excel tank and it has two forms that are very, very deadly. And right now I'm going to manage my hotkeys so that I can use three specific weapons for that fight. Brandish's sword ability, Battalion's bombs, and Cryo's ice attack. Because again, you can't just pause the game and cycle through the powers while the game is paused, and I don't want to have to go through that giant list of powers while I'm dodging enemy attacks, because then I'm like too busy multitasking. So I'm going to make those three hotkeys for this specific fight, because it can be a son of a bitch when you're not prepared. But final level, folks, let's do it!
We believe Trinity is at the Battle Coliseum, absorbing all of the robots into herself.
Incredible. Trinity commands so much Cell now that she's subsumed the entire Coliseum itself. We have no data on what it's like inside, Beck. But I know for certain that you are our only hope.
You are all set, then? What in the blue blazes? The Battle Coliseum itself has been absorbed!
Trinity has gone beyond her original design and is assimilating everything around her. Avi, what are the conditions like surrounding the Coliseum?
I gotta be honest with you, boss. It's one big old mess out here. The streets are packed solid with haywire robots!
Understood. Return to the lab for now.
What'll we do, Will? What'll we do?
Our only hope is to sneak in from above. Avi could drop Beck into the target zone. All right, let's do this.
You want to send Beck into that? Alone?
Any other robot would be assimilated by Trinity almost immediately. Only Beck shares Trinity's ability. He's the only one that can do this. Beck, you and Trinity possess the same power. She simply does not understand how to wield it. You must teach her how to control it.
I understand, Professor. I'll do it. I'll save Trinity.
I know you will, Beck. I know you will.
System ready? Go!
So it's kind of interesting that Dr. White says that the reason the other Mighty Numbers are not joining Beck for this stage is because Trinity will assimilate them and turn them back over to her side if they approach the area. And that seems like the golden opportunity, the golden excuse to have a traditional Mega Man staple, the boss rush. Because in every other Mega Man game, whenever you got to Dr. Wily's castle, you had to fight all of the 8 Robot Masters all over again in a row in one little motion. And they don't do that in Mighty Number 9. There is a boss rush you can participate in the extras menu, but when it comes to the actual main content, the story itself, no boss rush to be had. So that's kind of an interesting decision, an interesting choice if I do say so myself. But, yeah, we're not going to have a boss rush, is all I'm saying. This is the final stage. We only had 3 levels past the 8 Mighty Numbers, which, to be fair, that's exactly how it was in a game like Shovel Knight. You had the Tower of Fate entrance, the boss rush level, and then you had the Enchantress. But the thing with Shovel Knight was that it also had the Kickstarter level, all of the bonus challenges, all the bonus boss fights and stuff, and it was definitely a much more meaty experience compared to Mighty Number 9. Also, it fucking kicks ass, and I love that game so much. I want to play Mighty Number 9, or sorry, I want to play Shovel Knight so badly, but, yeah, again, considering that the call level was actually a Kickstarter bonus, was this game always going to have just 2 final levels after the Mighty Numbers? The initial 900,000 backer goal was always going to have like 2 final levels past the Robot Masters? That's a little weird, but you know. I should probably explain what's up with these things. Okay, so you got these weird blocky life form things, right? When you shoot them, they turn into cubes. They turn into solid objects that you can use as platforms, and if you destroy them enough, they will disappear, and then you can use them to get out of your way so that you can clear through a whole path of them, right? But they work very weird, and they have a proximity gimmick to them. So I'm going to use the bombs here to blow up this row right here, right? Because I'm supposed to blow up the cubes, and then they disappear. Cause a bomb, they turn back into those weird life forms. Still the life forms. They're not disappearing. They're not going away. How it works is, you're supposed to get in proximity to them. You have to be really, really close to the life form when it turns into a block. And when you destroy the block, it won't come back. But if you go a certain distance, then the life form comes back again. And I remember during my first 2 playthroughs of this level, that was tripping me up so much, because I was trying to clear pathways, trying to make it so I had a platform to jump on, but I was so far away from the life forms, I was shooting from a distance, and they just kept respawning, and I was very confused, like, why is it coming back so suddenly, when earlier it wasn't coming back at all? Like, what the hell? And that's why. There's a proximity thing where you have to be a certain distance close to it in order for it to stay disappeared. So now you know, in case you're ever going to play this game yourself. And you totally are, because Mighty No. 9 isn't a terrible game that has a bad reputation. But yeah, that's how this level's gimmick works. For the most part, this level's not too bad. I actually think it's pretty decent with how the enemies are. Although, I want to keep holding on to my Excel tank all the way to the boss, because I can't count on their helper robot to give me an Excel tank after I die to it. And having one chance to refill my entire health bar is so necessary with the final boss, because, the final boss is really, really tricky. And to be honest, it's not that different from a Mega Man Zero, Mega Man ZX, Mega Man 7 type final boss. It's just, in the Zero series and the ZX series, you could always refill your sub-tank and use them multiple times. And with Mighty No. 9, you don't have that. It's a multi-form boss where if you die to the second form, you have to refight the first form over and over and over again. And when you don't have a healing supply to refill your health, to constantly fight it over and over again because you keep dying, because you're still learning its patterns and stuff, the first playthrough of this game took me forever. I was stuck on the final boss for at least an hour, and by minute 40, I was getting real fucking frustrated with it, man. I was getting so annoyed by it. Also, yes, that is not my capture device. Anytime you use the bomb on those lifeform things and turn them into cubes, the frame rate goes to shit. I must say, the PlayStation 4 version of Mighty No. 9 is the most stable version of the game anywhere. If you played this on the Wii U, if you played this on Steam, I'm sure you've noticed a whole bunch of bad frame rate issues. It has some in the PS4 version, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. And I found it only really gets bad here when you blow up all the lifeform things with the bombs. But, yeah. I've only played the PS4 version, but this is actually pretty stable in comparison to the other ones. I've heard horror stories about the Wii U one. Apparently the load times in the Wii U one are terrible. Which, I'm sorry, Nintendo fans, I'm sorry. Anyway, folks, here we go. Final boss.
Are you Trinity?
So, it's finally come to this. 2 of my proudest creations squaring off. Beck, stop her the way you did the other mighty numbers. Save Trinity!
Yes, sir, Professor.
Okay, folks, this boss is a son of a bitch. This is the first form of Trinity, and it's the Yellow Devil. Oh, God! For the first form, I would definitely recommend using Battalion's bomb, because it clings on to Trinity, it will stay on her, and then you can detonate it whenever you want. At first, it has a protective shield, but the more it uses its energy, the shield will go away, and that's when you can detonate the bomb and start draining its health. Like right now, I'm not blowing up, not blowing up. Shield went down, now I'm blowing him up. You still have to dash into her in order to drain her health, just like every other boss, so keep that in mind. You have to get close to her at any given moment so that you can dash into her. And Again, the battalion bomb is just great for that, where you don't have to focus on aiming, you just make sure that the bomb explodes in her general area, and anytime the shield goes down, and then you're good as rain, good as gold. I've played the first form so many times that I can do this without getting damaged, and I can handle the Yellow Devil segment pretty nicely, but you will have to see the Yellow Devil pattern over and over and over again.
Attention! I am picking up a significant shift in Trinity's readings. She appears to be distressed.
Indeed. Just as Beck absorbed aspects of the other mighty numbers, she's learning from Beck. She's struggling with what she's done, what she'll do next, how to control her power. You can do it, Trinity! Open your mind! Show the world that robots can evolve!
Open your heart, it's gonna be alright! Okay, so this second form is much more annoying, and again, if you die to this form, you have to redo the first form all over again, which is so fucking annoying. But I use Cryo's ability for when it's a big, giant flower, because it slows it down and makes it easier to drain its health really, really quickly. You can get a lot more shots in on her when she's going left and right, when she's frozen with Cryo's ice ability. And sometimes it's just really helpful, you know? Like, look how many shots I'm getting off on her. She would be moving a lot faster. Never stay in the middle of the room, because goddamn Trinity will always keep popping up from the middle and surprise attacking you and making you lose a lot of health, because it just loves to spawn in the middle, and that is absolutely something you gotta watch out for. Now, I'm doing a really specific trick with the sword ability. This is something you can do with the first form when it's doing its Yellow Devil attack as well, but when you're slashing your sword constantly with Brandish, he has an invulnerability period when you're swinging your sword. Right now, I just used my XL tank to refill my health. I only get one of those. If I die, the next few playthroughs are going to be really annoying. But if you keep slashing with the sword with Brandish, like, enemy attacks actually pass by you. Like the Yellow Devil attack, the orbs will just go right through you, and you can just keep standing there spamming the sword slash ability, just slashing, 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 and you'll actually be fine. So what happens here is Trinity is raining a whole bunch of, you know, orbs from the sky that are going down on me, but because I keep slashing with the sword, they're mostly missing me for the most part. I get real close to Trinity at this point, and I dash towards the wall, so that by contact, just by being in my proximity, I am draining her Zell, even though I'm not charging into her. Because if you try dashing into her, it won't be like the other bosses we fought up to this point. You will take contact damage, and again, you need all the health you can get. But yeah, folks, that's the final boss. I made it look really easy, but believe me, it is a lot harder than it looks, and you only get one health refill. I also beat this game in an hour, so I got that trophy.
Mission clear.
But yeah, this final boss gave me a fucking headache the first time I played this. I was so mad at it by minute 40. And Trinity can be a son of a bitch. That's Mighty number 9, folks.
Your true form! I did it! I mean, you did it, Trinity! We did it!
Excellent work, Beck! Excellent! You have surpassed even my greatest expectations!
Warning! All cells in the area are no longer under Trinity's control. They are destabilizing.
She means that the whole place is coming down! Ah!
The assimilation threat is gone. Mighty numbers, rescue Beck and Trinity!
Roger that!
The end. Seriously, what the fuck? I remember I spent an hour taking on the final boss, my first playthrough, and then this was the ending I got for beating Trinity, and I was just like, oh, come on. That's the ending? Really? God, this game. So yeah, folks, that is Mighty Number 9. This is the game that Mega Man fans were anticipating ever since 2013. And boy, what a disappointment. Now look, I want to get the pros out of the way. I do think that the control on Beck is really tight. I think that the running and dashing mechanics are really solid, and it's fun to traverse through these levels as Beck. I don't have any problem with his weight or his momentum. I think he handles perfectly fine to what I would want from a Mega Man type character. The boss fights? I really like the boss fights for the most part, and the only real problem I have with Trinity is just that this game doesn't have a traditional Mega Man style energy tank system. If I was allowed to carry 4 like it's Mega Man 2, then Trinity wouldn't even be that big of a deal. It would just be like every other ZX game, every Zero game, every other Mega Man game where the final boss is kind of fucking challenging, you know? Like, I love Mega Man 7. Dr. Wily in Mega Man 7 is a son of a bitch, but at least I have 5 health refills in that game so I can afford to take more damage. Sigma in Mega Man X was an asshole. You had to fight both his dog, him, and his giant mecha robot dog form in one go. Otherwise, you had to go all the way back and refight all of those phases all over again. But again, with Mega Man X, you had 4 sub-tanks to hold on to your precious little life. And it just would have been better to have more than one with Mighty Number 9. Not to have this Excel tank that, again, if you die and you didn't use it, it's gone from your inventory. And you don't really get a second one unless the helper robot decides to give you one. And if you've been doing really good at the game, then the helper robot never gives you an Excel tank, and you always have to go fighting that entire boss on 1 life bar. It can be pretty goddamn annoying, let me tell ya. But when it comes to the Mighty Numbers, I like mostly all of the boss fights there. I like the boss fights that happen in the robot factory. I don't particularly love Call's canine boss, but, you know.
Playing fair, so they be forced to yield. Dr. White made 9 siblings, called the Mighty Numbers to boost competition.
Oh, by the way, that is Mega Ran doing a vocal track for Mighty Number 9. Again, this game had a lot of hype going in, so a lot of people were eager to lend their talents to this project, but yeah, that's something else. I like some of the stage designs. I don't think it's all a complete wash. I think that Seismic's level has a lot of spike annoyances. The Capitol building has a checkpoint problem. I don't know why those pink buzzsaws are in Dynatron's stage. But for the most part, I don't think a lot of the levels are terrible. Control, boss fights, the level design are not deal breakers for me, you know? I do think there's a playable game in here, I really do. But it's just surrounded with so much problems. I've already talked about the Excel tank. I've already talked about how you can't select powers from the pause menu. I haven't talked about the music. You know, aside from this Mega Ran track we're hearing right now, the music is completely forgettable. If you asked me, what does Countershade's level sound like? I don't know. What about Cryo's level? What does that sound like? I don't know. I can tell you the boss theme because I hear that over and over and over again, but as for the regular soundtrack, completely forgettable, doesn't hold up to the rock anthems of Mega Man's past, and I just, it's a pretty forgettable soundtrack. This game is a technical fuck-up on the Wii U. It's a technical fuck-up on Steam and stuff. I found the PS4 version to be the most stable, but it does have its fair share of glitches. And don't even touch the online co-op mode, because, oh my god, even though they said they delayed the game because of that feature, it is still bugged up the ass and does not work very well, and I don't plan on doing an extra video to show it off. The story is incredibly boring. It's got so many gray characters with so much telling but no showing, you know? And for a Mega Man type story, it's just really boring, and children shouldn't have to be subjected to these awful, awful dialogue scenes where everyone's just standing around in a blue room and talking. You know, I've already gone over so many of the problems of Mighty Number 9 that keep it from being a really great game. There's a good game buried in here, and there's a lot of redesign that needs to happen in order to make it great, but, you know, it still has tons of problems, and I totally understand why someone would think it was one of the worst games of 2016. I don't agree with that. I think it's a little more average, below average than that. Maybe a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 type experience. Not a good score by any means, but I don't think it was one of the worst things I played that year. No, the worst game I played in 2016, that would be Star Fox Zero. That game sucked! Oh! So yeah, this was Mighty Number 9. I figured people wanted to see me play this because I'm a big Mega Man fan. So there you go. This is my playthrough of Mighty Number 9. And oh, look at this credits sequence. They managed to give a shout out to every single Kickstarter backer who donated to the Kickstarter, even if they were anonymous and therefore were just a generous backer. This credit sequence that we're watching right now, no shit, this credit sequence goes on for, I kid you not, 3 hours. The list of Kickstarters is so long and so slow, it lasts for 3 hours. What? Why would you do it that way? Why wouldn't you just say, and thank you to all of our wonderful backers, or something? I mean, yeah, you know, after a while, you will get the inclination to skip the credits, because 2.5 hours later, no, seriously, I'm still going through it. 70,000 people, 70,000 names, and I was just like, should I actually, like, record all of it? Should I record all of the Kickstarter credits and commentate over all of it? Would that be a funny video? And then I discovered I had nothing to talk about for 3 hours, and no, that would not be a funny video at all. that would be miserable. I'd have to invite so many of my friends to make that fun, but yeah, we're skipping this.
Trinity was brought under control when she absorbed Beck's empathy and caring nature, his heart. My new synthetic heart routine makes it possible for robots to evolve ethically, to grow responsibly. Just wait. This will revolutionize the science of robotics, the fate of all robots, of all mankind.
You got lucky, that's all. And cleaning up your own mess doesn't make you a visionary. Besides, who can guarantee the behavior of robots left to their own devices, evolving on their own? This heart of yours is unnecessary, and worse, dangerous. I remain unconvinced, Bill.
Don't call me that! My name is William White. I'll show you. I'll show you and everyone else who doubted me.
Then only time will tell if this mighty number 9, this Beck, is a blessing or a curse.
It was a curse, Dr. Blackwell. It was a curse. Also, Dr. White's a villain now, right? I mean, you can't just have a line where you're like, I'll show them, I'll show everyone, unless you're being set up as the next villain. God damn it, Dr. White. Whatever. They're not making a sequel to this game. This game was such a disaster, both commercially, both critically. I just don't see that happening. I know there is Mighty Gunvolt Burst that was designed by Inti Creates, which I've heard a lot of good things about, but I still have no desire to purchase it. I have no desire to follow again with this series, and even if they do make sequels, I'm probably not going to cover it on my channel. I just wanted to play it because it was kind of a big deal in the Mega Man community. I play a lot of Mega Man games, figured I'd give my own take on it. It's a game that has a lot of potential. It does feel good when it comes to boss fights and control, but too many problems holding this thing down. And they still never released the 3DS or Vita versions that they promised they were going to release. So, if you don't own a Wii U, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, then I imagine handheld owners must be feeling pretty gypped right about now. Hey. Mighty number 9 is a damn shame. A damn shame. Anyway, folks, see you next time. I am the Great Clement. Toodles.